I've already told him.
I told you I had heard my last one.
He likes to speak.
I'd like to call to order our December Commissioners meeting. We'll ask Commissioner Caton to give us our invocation, Commissioner McRoy to lead us in our pledge.
May we pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come into Thy presence in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We thank You for Your blessings, Your encouragement and strength. We thank You for the privileges You've granted each and every one of us to participate in government and in choosing our leaders. Bless this board this night, that what it'll do will be fair, equitable, and guide them, that everything will be done decently and in order. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Please stand and face the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Our next item is the recognition of departing of Commissioners Caton and McRoy. Certainly, at this time, we would like to thank both gentlemen for their service to this Board of Commissioners. A lot of people don't realize all that go into being a commissioner. A lot of people seem to understand that when you see this meeting, that is all. This meeting is basically the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that commissioners do. And so we want to take this time to thank Commissioner Caton and Commissioner McRoy for their wonderful years of service. And as a result of that, we would like to present both with a plaque of appreciation from this board and the county of Beaufort to Commissioner Caton. It says from April 1st, 2004 till December 3rd, 2012.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May God bless you and heaven smile upon you.
Thank you, sir.
To Commissioner McRoy, December 5th, 2000 until December 3rd, 2012. May God bless you and heaven smile upon you. We certainly thank them, and as I said, if you get the opportunity, thank these fine gentlemen for their years of service, because so many times in this line of work, you get very few thank yous, but you get a whole lot of complaints. You're always constantly being second guessed for what you do and what you do not do. So I just simply say, if you get the opportunity, please thank these gentlemen for their service. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we'll ask our newly elected commissioners to come.
Robert, y'all will line up in the front. You still need that, Gary. All right. Let's bring her up then. She was heading towards the seat. All right, Mr. Chairman, it's a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to swear in four commissioners duly elected, two returning commissioners, Jerry Langley, Hood Richardson, and two new members of the Board of Commissioners, Robert Belcher and Gary Brin. Each of you has before you your oath, and I'm just going to ask you to say, I do, at the end of each paragraph. And Mr. Commissioner Langley, if you would raise your right hand. And those, if you'll place your left hand on the Bibles and raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as Commissioner for Beaufort County, so help you God?
I do.
And do you and each of you further solemnly and sincerely swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I do.
And do you and each of you swear or affirm that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office of Commissioner for Beaufort County according to the best of your skill and ability, according to law, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Congratulations, Robert.
Did it, huh?
Judge, will give them back to you. You keep in your,
I've got it here somewhere.
you need copies of it. I've signed it over in sets.
You go, Judge.
Well, I don't have, we're gonna have to do something.
He's gonna give it to you, and you get your sign.
Oh, he's gonna give it to me on side? Oh, okay.
Sir?
Said she gave you.
She did?
Those pi-
Yes, that's the one we're looking for.
Yeah. I think she didn't give it to me.
Thank you. I got it.
We sitting on there for,
You're commissioner now, you can't sit there?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Take
matter.
a seat, they're all gonna change.
Yep. All change.
That's what the name tag says. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, it's time to elect our chairman and vice chairman, so we will turn it over to our clerk to the board, Sharon Singer.
Okay, we'll now have the election of the chairman of the board. We'll take nominations for the coming fiscal year. Are there nominations?
I nominate Stan Deathridge.
I second that.
I nominate Jerry Langley.
I'll second that.
We have two nominations. Are there others? If not, a motion to close nominations.
So move.
Second.
Second.
You'll vote in the order that the nominations were received. Commissioner Richardson has nominated Commissioner Deathridge. Voting for Commissioner Deathridge, please. Voting for Commissioner Langley. Commissioner Langley will be your chairman for the coming fiscal year.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, calendar year.
Chair and vice chair. I'd rather stay right.
We'll now do the vice chairman for your board.
I nominate Al Clem. I nominate Stan Deathridge.
I'm sorry, just 1 second, Mr. Booth.
Al Clem.
He can't talk.
He can't talk.
He's had gentleman.
Pull it out.
Okay, Commissioner Booth is nominated. Commissioner Clem?
I nominate
Stan.
Stan Deathridge.
I second.
Okay, are there others?
It's a bargain.
Nominations?
Deal.
If not,
Yeah, put somebody
I
against.
need a motion to close the floor for nominations.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Voting in order as received, Commissioner Booth has nominated Commissioner Clem. Voting for Commissioner Clem. Commissioner Deathridge. Commissioner Clem will be your vice chairman.
Okay.
2013.
We got a 4-3.
Mr. Chairman, may I arrange the seating of your board?
Okay. The vice chair always sits to the right.
He's gonna move you. He's already told me he's gonna move you.
Commissioner Booth to my left.
I'll be on the end. I think I'm gonna stay on the end.
You gentlemen happy with your seats? Sure.
It's a seat.
Might have been.
Okay, I assume everybody's happy with their seating. Who said that? All right. Public comments.
I have no one signed up for public comments this evening.
Okay, thank you. We will move forward. Ward Sutton and Aura. Ward Sutton, Cemetery Services, to the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners and staff. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff for the cooperation they have given PCS and my company, Cemetery Services in Rocky Mount, and allowed us to be on the agenda tonight and the work they have cooperated with us prior to getting here. We're here to talk about relocating the Eliza Ann Moore Cemetery that's located in the Bonnerton community on PCS property. And we're here to discuss the guidelines of North Carolina Statute 65106. It used to be 6513. It has since changed. The legislature renumbered it year before last, I believe. But it's the same thing said a different way. So it's either 65106 or 6513. But the correct terminology is 65106 now. The statute is very specific in what we must do to do this. And the first thing the statute requires us to do is make reasonable search to locate the next of kin. This cemetery, we know, has been active since 1913, and the last burial that we could research was in 1968. We could only go back to 1913 because that's when death certificates, birth certificates came on board. We do feel like, in research, that there's people buried in this cemetery prior to 1913. But we have what it really boils down to. If you know the area well, this is a very condensed area of the county down there. Neighborhood, I think, would be a better way. I think basically everybody in that area is kin to one another. And so we have some family members here tonight who have cooperated with us in this endeavor. And at the end, if you'd like to ask them any questions about it, I'm sure they will oblige you and answer all your questions. But we've worked with them following their wishes. And the first thing, like we said, we had to make reasonable search to locate the next of kin. In research, we found 24 marked graves. You got to remember there'd been no burials in this cemetery since 1968. So basically it had been unattended. It was very overgrown with everything. PCS back in the early fall We spent considerable time down there. PCS built a road so we could actually get into it because you had to go across the swamplands to get to it. So they built a road in there, and we cleaned it up so we could really find out what was in there. And this cemetery contains about 3,000 square feet. And after we cleaned it up, we found 24 marked graves that we could match by markers. The genealogist, our genealogist came in and spent considerable time in the Register of Deeds, and she, as I said earlier, she located 73 more graves that we know that are in there. So this gives us a total of 97. The second thing the statute required us to do was run a public notice in the local newspaper for 4 successive weeks. We ran that ad October the 10th, 17th, 24th, and 31st. The purpose of running this ad is to see if anyone will come forth and claim any knowledge about the cemetery or have relatives buried in there and so forth. The only ones that responded to us are the ones that we have with us tonight who had cooperated fully with us from the very beginning of this project. So for anybody else to come on board and respond of any knowledge, we never received any phone calls with me and Rocky Mount or PCS. We advertised it both ways. The statute requires us to relocate it to a suitable cemetery. A suitable cemetery by the statutes is one that will offer perpetual care, or for a better term, the grass will be mowed. Morris Chapel Missionary Baptist Church has a cemetery there that they maintain now. Morris Chapel is very close to where this cemetery is. And this is these people's heritage. They were all raised in this general area, and our efforts have been working with the family to keep them in this area. So we're going to move them. We hope to relocate them to a section right beside of the church that PCS will be donating the property where it will be maintained. The next thing is the party affecting the removal must be willing to pay for this relocation. PCS has agreed to take care of all the expenses pertaining to this project to comply with the 65-106 process. I've covered in a nutshell of what 3 pages of 65-106 is, very briefly, with what the nuts and bolts of it is. I am now open for questions.
Any questions from any commissioners? I'd just like the family members of the Moore family, do you have anything you would like to say?
Would you please stand up and introduce yourself? All three, they've worked very well with us.
I'm Beaufort, with that family members there, and everything has been discussed and explained to me, to my understanding, and I am well pleased at this meeting.
Okay.
My name is Esther Vaughn, former member of the County Board of Education, and commissioners, we have thoroughly reviewed what these gentlemen have located and their research, and I'm very pleased that, and I approve it.
I'm Bernard Moore, and I am a deacon at that church that he mentioned that they were going to move it to, which we discussed it at the church. And being a community cemetery, we feel like, as he said, they need to be somewhere rather than back in the woods. And this will give them a space and a place. And as he said, we've worked very diligently with them, and they've been very, very cordial. Anything that, as they've said, anything at all that we can do, just let us know. And so we're very happy with the service that they have given us.
Okay. Thank you.
You stated that you had 24 graves in there. 24 marked graves.
I said, we located, when we cleaned the cemetery off, got all the underbrush out, we located 24 marked graves. When I'm saying marked graves, had markers to them.
Identifiable graves.
Only 24 had markers, but our genealogist came in and researched from 1913 to 1968, and she found 73 death certificates in the Register of Deeds office documenting those burials. But we do feel like there's graves earlier than 1913, but we can't document them because there are not any death certificates in the courthouse on that.
And the people that, I know you went through all the statutes and to make sure that people were notified. And the statute of limitation out for the people that was not come forward.
We did what the statute required us to run a notice for 4 successive weeks in the paper, which was an acknowledgement publicly of our intention, and it also stated in the last paragraph that was our intentions, but we could not do anything until we got a resolution from the Beaufort County Commissioners. We did the research, but we couldn't do anything until tonight.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I make a motion that we approve a resolution authorizing the relocation of the Eliza Ann Moore Cemetery.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you for your time.
We thank you. The next item that we'll be dealing with will be our 550 item. Judy Roundtree, Russell Morgan.
That's me. Russell is on his way. I don't know where he's at the time I talked to him. He's coming from work. Ladies and gentlemen, what I need to tell you is to refresh your memory. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. I was in air traffic combat operations in the Vietnam War, and I'm 100% disabled right now. And I was born in North Carolina and grew up at Core Point. I came here to retire. And I wanted to refresh your information. November 14, 2011, we met here, me and my wife, and we wanted a noise ordinance. The lady next door has, at that time, the last report we had was 35 dogs and 3 cats. They're basically in the front yard, in the garage, in the kennels, and they bark all night, all day. When she's gone, they bark. And we've got to the point that we've had to, one of our dogs, when we first got her, I have 5 dogs myself, border collies. One of our dogs got attacked by her. We had to spend $400 of our own money. We've had to barricade our whole entire house, our whole yard with the chain link fence, wooden fence. We become prisoners in our own house. And with the constant barking, and the state came down and she applied for a license at the state. The state told her, you can't qualify with this. And she's operating a rescue business next door. And if I say something, I said something to her last meeting we had here, and she said, if I don't like it, move out. So, and I would like very much that all the commissioners come out and see what I'm at here. I've got 3 pictures here. These are what's in the front yard. They have 11 dogs in the front yard. The last report was, let's see here, the report, they had 32 dogs and 3 cats. Now they've dropped it down something. They have 22 personal dogs, 3 rescue dogs, and 3 cats. And the problem that we have with the dogs out in the front yard, they've got kennels, and the dogs are in the kennels. Well, they take them out of the kennels and go poop on the back deck, and our house is not that far. In the summertime, it's just obnoxious, just atrocious. And we got to have something done. We met here with the commissioners. We talked with Mrs. Willard. We kept in communications every month. You know, we contacted her. I've got paperwork this high. And we need something from you guys. I don't mind her having 35 dogs over there if they're going to be shut down and not. But we had the landscaper comes in, mows the lawn, they bark their heads off. Somebody drives up and down that driveway, they bark their heads off all night, all day. Then my dog's starting to bark, and I'm stressed to the max. My wife is almost ready for a nervous breakdown, and we are just absolutely upset, and we would like something done. What she does with the excrements from the dogs is she puts them on the backyard and poop on the deck, and then she just brooms it off the deck, and it goes down the back of her house there. And my Russell Morgan, I don't know if he's here yet, but he was supposed to be here at 5:30. You guys got to me too soon. He'll be here maybe a little later, but he can't stand it. And we really don't know what to do. I mean, we're living a prisoner in our own house. And everything I've done over there is, according to her, is wrong. I try to be a good neighbor. I'll be a good neighbor with anybody. And I grew up here, and this is my home. I came back after 33 years with Northwest Airlines, and I came back here to retire, and I really don't know what to do. And my next step is to go out to you people here and tell us what we can do. We need some sort of ordinance. The barking noise or whatever Sandy Willard told us, and Mr. Taylor told us, what you need to do is go out and call the police. Well, if I call the police every time those dogs will bark, we're going to have a full-time shuttle going back and forth between the police and our house. And we think it's just an absolutely horrendous problem here with this. And I really don't know what to do. I mean, it just hurts my feelings that I brought my wife back here from Oregon, and I married her, and she's been a good trooper about this. But at night she just cries, just almost cries herself to death because of the barking noise. The plumber came the other day and he said, how in the world do you live with that racket? The 11 dogs in the front yard, and these pictures were taken last Sunday. My wife went around and took the pictures. Those are the ones out front, and there's about 25 more. And then my wife said, my wife's got great hearing, which I don't. I'm deaf in one ear. And she said, I hear puppies over there. So then we saw her ads advertising dogs for rescue in the paper or whatever, on the internet. Out of the Woods, the rescue, 11/28/11, the inspector from the state came out, from the animal welfare, came out and says to them that disapproved to have a kennel license of any kind, and we were facing that situation. And what I want to know is, if she can't get approval from the state, how can she possibly get an approval from the county for this? And Russell Morgan's right here, and he'll talk after me, but we're desperate. My wife is just don't know what to do. I mean, if the dogs weren't in the front yard, if they're all in our house, fine. But the stench in the summertime, just putting the stuff out the back deck, it goes down there and it just sits there, and we don't know what to do, And I've had her water tested. I had the water people out there. If I had a house, I certainly couldn't take a house and let the raw sewage run out the backyard, I'd have to have a septic tank, and we're sort of, we want something done, and that's just about all I have to say. And Russell Morgan here, he's our neighbor, and he's also the chairman of our homeowners association. Right here is Russell Morgan.
So my name is Russell Morgan. Most of you know me. We've been trying to get y'all to, some help for this, and I know y'all put together a subcommittee. Hood, you've actually been out there and seen the problem. She keeps getting more dogs in, but, this is a personal problem with us, but what I had addressed before, to try to get the county to pass an ordinance, not just for us, but for the whole county, to make sure that if someone comes in here and buys a piece of property and wants to build a nice house, that next week somebody's not going to put a hog pen right next to their house or put 40 deer hounds, up next to their bedroom window. It's not just our neighborhood, but it started there. And what I would like to know, and Al, you and I have sent some emails back and forth, we've had a few glitches in your committee, trying to get this subcommittee and things done. Well, what I'd like to know is, where are we at this point in getting an ordinance put together?
The Animal Control Committee was disrupted when we changed animal control officers.
Yeah.
And also we had the election.
Yeah.
And we met recently, and we're still working on the ordinance. Is where we're at.
Well, I know at one time you thought that you had talked with, what other counties had done, and I don't think there's been a whole lot accomplished on that so far. I've done a little research, and, someone has to set a precedence. Why shouldn't it be Beaufort County? Let's come into the 21st century and let people know, hey, we want people to move here to this county, and we want you to know you're protected, that, that you're not going to have dog kennels and hog pens and, right up next to your property line.
Todd Taylor, he's our new animal control officer. He's sitting right there, and he might be better able to reply in relation to the animal control ordinance and in relation to your problems also.
Well, it wouldn't also always be, as we first stated, when we put in a nuisance ordinance. Mm-hmm. So nuisance can cover a lot of territory.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just necessarily animals, but nuisance in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is specifically animal control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a subcommittee that we have.
And they have not made a recommendation to this full board, so there's not a whole lot we will accomplish.
Right. We just wanted to follow up on this, and plus let our newly elected officials kind of have an idea of what's going on with us and what we're trying to accomplish here for the county, and not just for our neighborhood, but like I say, it started in our neighborhood, and I think it's a good thing for the whole county. Yeah. We're trying to change. We're trying to grow. We want to be a better county. Let's do this. It is bad, but talking about the stench, it's very bad.
Well, that committee will be reappointed tonight, so hopefully and prayerfully after sometime tonight you'll hear from them.
Jerry, you think it's down the line, or maybe before we put something in stone in writing, to maybe even have a public hearing on this like they do for the roadside hunters. Let's get an idea, from the whole county, from the public. What does the public want?
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Until I hear back from that committee, I won't make any recommendations.
I understand what you're saying, but something to keep and roll around in the back of our mind and
I
see where
understand.
this is going to go.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Let me say one last word. If the state disapproves in the conditions are kennels all over the house, poop in the backyard and everything, then the county should come down and disapprove her for having a license that's less than 15 or 30 feet from my house. Because I can't stand it and I'm gonna go crazy,
Okay.
But we appreciate you guys very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Chaco in the volunteer fire department. Someone who's here from the.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, this item, let's go ahead.
I'm just here to answer questions.
Okay. I was just going to say, Mr. Chairman, this was submitted by the department. It's a request for the board's approval for refinancing of their debt, and it is a very good thing for the fire department. It saves about $100,000, I think.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add to it, or?
No, we just got to looking at numbers, and the interest rates has gone down everywhere except at our fire department. We said we need to do something, so we're going to try to go from a 5.9 to a 2.9.
That's the motion.
The motion you refinance.
Have a motion? Is this?
I'll second the motion, and basically looking at what's in the document, says the approval of the resolution does not obligate the county or its board of commissioners in any way regarding the repayment of debt.
Anything further from any other commissioners?
I just want to make one more comment. I think y'all did a good job of covering the kind of questions that we would have in the presentation. But also in this is you're not going to take home any money from this closing. This is strictly a refinancing. Nobody's going to put any money in their pocket from the closing. So it's a rollover, and I can support it.
Correction on that. We are changing from United Financial to First South Bank.
Yeah, but you're rolling the debt over is all that you're doing. You're not.
Okay. Any other questions from any other commissioners? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? 7-0. Thank you. Mr. Bobby Parker.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much. I have got, let's see what I've got. The first thing is your collection rate. This was done on the 20th, and we have, for 2012, we have 20.25%. We're up to 30.16 now, so we've had quite a nice growth in the last 10 days. So this is what we have as of Friday, end of the month. Any questions on that information?
Within these documents, Bobby, you got a summary for the real and personal property tax in 2011, motor
Yes.
vehicle tax for
Yes.
2011, and
Yes, sir.
combined totals for 2011. When might you be starting to run something like that for 2012?
State that question again, Mr. Glenn.
When would you be starting to run that same spread number for 2012? In other words, I see.
We should start that in the next. Well, we've already started a little bit on it, but the
It just wasn't included in our.
no, it was not all of it. No, okay. We should have that started because being the 4 months behind, we should have that next month.
Okay. Thank you.
The motor vehicles right now 4 months behind, so that's why they hadn't been built. I have a solid waste issue. I don't know if Mr. Johnson's here yet. I think you had this not in December, November. We're in November, October, I guess it was. He has the two houses on one lot. One is his house, and one was a carriage house. He called it a carriage house. It's a livable dwelling. It's hooked to electricity. It's hooked to water, and it has its own septic system. So,
Does it have a separate meter?
yes, sir.
It has a separate meter.
I think we have the documentation where you'll approve this back in 1994, stating residents shall be charged with solid waste. You have that in your packages, section 4.
Should we wait until Mr. Johnson's here to hear him
I
on
would.
this issue?
I've called him, and I told him somewhere around 5:30 might come on in. So you want to wait on that one? I'll be here.
Okay, we'll wait for that particular item. You
You
don't
want
have
to-
anything else, do you?
I've got the update to the drainage.
Okay.
Let's see, I think it was November the 5th, at 11 o'clock, we just had Mr. Woodruff, County Manager, Mr. Billy Mayo, Mr. Rodney Woolard, and Shirley Ann Phelps and myself. We met to discuss the land drainage and to go over it again. And I think the only thing that we've come up with that we're only going to do, we're only going to do it for the commissioners that has asked, request the Board of Commissioners to show it on the tax notices. We're not going to do everyone because some of them we don't have any information from. I've talked to our programmer. He says he thinks it can be done. And I told him I think Shirley Ann has it in electronic format. He's coming in next week to talk to her. They're going to sit down and talk about this. Some other matters we're talking about, if there's any liens on this property, does the drainage districts want to go back and pursue the liens, and that would mean foreclose the property, garnish wages, freeze bank accounts. So I think that's about what we discussed on that.
Are they willing to pay their fees for that? See, we're not gonna take this on and then pay $500 or $600.
That was one of the, I don't think we ever settled anything on that either.
There's nothing specific, Mr. Richardson, that requires them to pay a fee.
But
And,
there's something specific on our side. We've got the tax collection system, and we don't have to do this unless they're willing to come to some kind of economic terms with us.
I believe we found that the statute states if they desire to have it done, we have to do it.
But it doesn't say that we have to do the foreclosure. It says we have to collect, we have to list and collect. As I recall, the statute does not require us to do foreclosures for them free of charge.
If we did a foreclosure, Mark Bedell would do the foreclosure. He'd get paid for it.
So the property owner is going to pay them, so we don't have.
You'd be paying for the foreclosure, yes, the property owner, if that's the way we go.
All right, as long as that's clearly understood that we're not taking these people to raise.
All it says in the statute is collect. That's all it says.
Yeah. So, I don't want to get into that trap where we're getting beat up for that money.
Of course, to collect it, we've definitely got to take their assessment rolls and put it on the tax notice when it goes out. So, and I talked to my finance technician this afternoon, and we went over a couple of things. Is how we're going to get it, because it says it's credit to the district in which the land is located. It's deposit to the credit. Whether we go in and we just, when we collect it, deposit right straight to the bank in the name of the drainage district, or where I don't think it would come through finance, would it?
Yeah, it would.
It would? Okay.
Well, another thing, Bobby, is the IT committee's looking at new tax software and comparing it with your present software and looking at the possible purchase of software, and it could be some of this stuff we're looking at could handle that very easily, whereas what we have now will not handle it.
Well, it might, and it might not do as good because he knows what we need.
I can't imagine that because of the platform you're on. It's just so obsolete, and there's just so much automation to be had nowadays. I think it would make it a whole lot simpler.
Okay. Commissioner Richardson.
How are you going to decide when to foreclose? Who's going to make that decision?
Well, there's a lot of it out there now hasn't been collected in the last few years.
That's not what I asked. Who is going to make the decision to foreclose? Are you going to make it?
If
Is the
it's-
district going to make it? I don't want the county to make that decision because it's not our money. You come along here, you foreclose on somebody for $400 and you pay $600 to the contractor for foreclosing. I see problems here.
Well, I see problems too. I mean, that's what we need to be very careful to not to rush into this thing. And I told Shirley Ann the other day, this is something that might not happen this year. It might take a couple of years to get these problems. There's a lot of problems with this.
I don't have a problem with us doing it, but I think we're going to have a written agreement with each one of the districts, right?
I think we need to set an established policy that
Absolutely.
governs the value of the amount, whether it's worth our while to foreclose to collect the $200 debt. We certainly don't want to pay $600 in legal.
Whether it's worth their while to collect or not. But I think to protect the county's interest on this, somebody with that drainage district should authorize in writing the foreclosure.
But it says the amount shall be collected by the county tax.
No, wait a minute. You guys are playing games on this. I'm here looking after the county's interest.
Right,
I'm not looking after some statute somewhere with somebody interpreting it. You know, we're in a negotiating position on this thing. And I don't think we should foreclose on any of these drainage districts. Should be in the agreement that the drainage district is going to authorize us to foreclose. Then, if you come up with a negative amount, and we've been into these things, you can go through bankruptcies and there could be no money there when you get there. Things can happen. So I want the drainage district to say foreclose, and then when you come up and the judges and the lawyers say, gee, guys, there's no money there today, we're going to say write us a check for our lawyer fees because we did not take this on ourselves. We're taking on you're taking on a risk for somebody else, and we don't want to do that.
This is why I'm here stating that every item in this needs to be a policy set that we're going to do it this way on all of them.
You're using the wrong words again,
Okay.
Bobby. We want a contractual
contract agreement,
not a policy.
Okay, a contract agreement, but the contract would have to be the same for all 4 districts we're doing. So that's what I'm saying. It needs to be one way.
Right. I agree. We need a contract, not a policy.
Bobby, Randall, there's a whole lot of complexity to this. As far as being able to present this to us right now, Bobby's really not ready to present it.
I'm not.
And what we need is to have a proposal put together that covers our concerns, and I believe Hood's right about the contract. But somebody needs to put all this together and present it to us so we have something.
I see a lot of problems every time I pick this up. There's a lot of problems out there because you've got to.
We don't have.
Didn't we
have nothing
charge
right
the
now.
manager and the attorney and Bobby with
yeah,
bringing us something in? We said in writing.
Tonight, this is just meant to be an update tonight.
Oh, okay.
And not
We are working on this,
not the
yeah.
full resolution.
Oh,
We're
okay.
still working on it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Mr. Johnson's here.
Yes, he is. Yes, sir. I'll let you have the.
Well, I'm back again. We've looked at the issue. Have you talked about it?
I just brought it up and that you were coming in.
Okay.
You need to tell them what you're.
Well, I have a home in Bay Harbor, and next to that home is a garage apartment, which we lived in before we built the main house. According to the rules, Mr. Parker has to charge me a separate trash transfer fee for each building. I mean, I don't consider it a separate residence because we're not allowed to have 2 residences on one property in Bay Harbor. I think it's unfair to be charged double taxation for transfer fees when that's an extension of my home, not a separate residence.
Do you have a separate meter? You have two different meters on?
No.
You just have one meter that serves both?
Yes, right.
We did say you have a separate septic system.
Yes, this Grand County made me put a separate septic in for that for that building. But it's got 1 bathroom in it, but I had to put 4 100-foot lines in to serve that building.
Do you rent the building?
No one's lived in it since we've moved out.
Well, what do you use the building for?
Actually, we don't use it for anything but storage. We've used the upstairs on 2 occasions when we've had a house full of out-of-town guests. There is a bedroom up there, there's a kitchen up there, and a living room and a bedroom. And we've had overflow guests, and that's what we've
So
planned it to
it's
be.
a guest house is what you're saying?
It's guest house, yes. I'm the only person that lives there. No one else.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we have multiple situations in the county with this same situation where on the same property that homeowners paying twice, paying the fee for both.
I think it's a big
for multiple facilities. Is that not correct, Mr.?
Yes, it is. Yes. Quite a number.
Well, we don't need to start to set any new precedents unless we know exactly what we have. If this is what you wrote, I guess that's what it is.
This is definitely a residence. I mean, it can be used for, it's livable. It's hardwood floors, bathroom, kitchen, bedroom. It is livable. That's a policy we've been going by. We have mobile homes and houses on the same lot. We charge 2 solid waste. This is what we've been doing since 1994, because I was here when it first started.
But you have two families living on those properties, though.
Not necessary. We have mobile homes where people have moved in and out. It's rentable. They rent it. People move out. We continue to charge it as long as it's livable, hooked to a meter, hooked up, electricity, water, and sewer. It is, we consider it a livable property.
Okay. Anything further from any commissioners?
I have a question for Mr. Parker when we finish this, but.
Okay. Anybody? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Parker, in listing of property in the newspaper that we're required to do annually, we list every person who is delinquent in taxes. Would there be any reason that someone would not, that would be delinquent in taxes and they would not be on the list that's in the paper?
I can't think of any. It would have to be real property. Now, all the personal property is not in the paper.
Right, but all of the real property is listed annually, and that's a requirement for foreclosure to collect the taxes. And there are no exceptions.
No exceptions as I can recall. No.
Okay, thank you.
This is property that's exempt.
Okay.
That would not get there.
Why did you ask that question?
I don't believe that I have to explain why I asked the question.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering if it's germane to this stuff.
Well, Mr. Parker's here as the tax assessor, so we can ask him any question that we would like to ask him when he's here. It's not a rehearsed meeting as takes place on some boards.
All right, we're not gonna start that. We are not. We are not. Is there any action that we need to take tonight?
You can decide to take no action.
What's the recommendation of the tax?
Commission first.
Bobby, what is your recommendation?
Well, this is what I've been doing, so I would recommend that we continue the same thing we've been doing. We would normally charge 2 solid waste. The appraiser went out and looked at it. He charged 2 solid waste on it. It's definitely a nice place. It's you got photos of it, so I would certainly think it's what we've been doing. I would hate to change now because we've got a lot of people that we've been. This is the policy.
Okay. Any action from any commissioners? Okay. We thank you, sir. No action.
Okay. You may hear from me again.
So.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes, sir. Enclosed in the packet are the proposed Economic Development Commission bylaws submitted by the EDC Board. Bob Hughes has recommended they be written in a more simplified form, which has been accomplished. Key points concerning the bylaws. Considerable simplification of the present document, moving any economic development director's duties listed in the bylaws to the economic development director's job description. Probably needs to be job description, removing any part that deals with the EDC budget, included as part of the normal budgeting process. Name of organization change from Beaufort County Economic Development Commission to Beaufort County Economic Development Advisory Board. Board has always, in practice, been an advisory board, and decisions have been made basically by the county commissioners. The board has basically recommended, and they've come through the EDC director in the past. Bylaws have been in your document. You had a chance to read them. And that's all I got to say, except I would entertain a motion to approve them.
Are you making the motion?
I'd like to do a lot of discussion before we get to a motion to approve them.
I think,
I mean, you can do it either way you want to do it, but
let's make the motion in second and go into discussion.
I make a motion.
He made the motion.
Second.
So you second. Okay, now Commissioner Richards.
okay. Some of the questions I've got is going to page number 55. It's on section 1, membership A1. 8 members appointed by the Beaufort County Board of Commissioners, including 1 Beaufort County Commissioner. Then it goes on and talks about the Board of Commissioners will request a nominee for appointment from each of the incorporated municipalities. Nowhere in here does it state the number of members that are going to serve on this board. So is it 8 or is it 13 or 14 or what?
It's 15.
Okay, how do you get from 8 to 15?
You get 8, and you get this, I think there's 7 incorporated towns. Chocowinity.
There's 6, aren't there?
And Washington. And Washington, because Washington has gone from 3 members to 1 member. That's where the change is.
Wait a minute. You got Washington, Bellhaven, Aurora, Pantego, Washington Park, Washington.
Bath.
Okay, that's right. 7. So that'd be 15 members. All right.
Yes, sir. Same number it is now.
Okay. Let's see. Ex officio members may be added at the discretion of the board. Which board are we talking about? Whose board?
The Economic Development Board.
I think they should be added at the discretion of the commissioners. I don't think this, we don't want another self-perpetuating runaway train.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, so we would change that to the Board of County Commissioners.
That's no problem.
Going on to section 2 on the same page, member terms. To be sure what I'm talking about here, his or her official served beyond their term of office. Do what? 55. Still on the same page, 55.
Your pages are numbered the same as ours now.
I would hope so.
We had a problem one time.
Oh, okay. Well, I think a statement should go in here on members that all members should serve at the pleasure of the county commissioners. That should be very clear. We get into these things here, and you get people that need to be removed from boards and commissions, and then you find out that they've owned this thing for life. And all these people serve at the pleasure of should be serving at the pleasure of the Board of County Commissioners. It needs to say that in here.
Even the ones we do not appoint?
Yeah.
It says in here, the Board of Commissioners will request a nominee for appointment from each of the incorporated towns, municipalities. Basically, we're saying that the Board of Commissioners would affirm, but we can put in there that they would affirm. In other words, what the Board of Commissioners would do would be to request a nominee for appointment from each of the incorporated towns.
I don't have a problem with affirming. I think we should affirm whoever they want to put up.
If you don't like them, we can either vote for them or disapprove.
But I think we should also say that they all serve at the pleasure of the county commissioners, of the Board of County Commissioners.
I have no problem with that either, because basically that could fit in.
Okay, and I would like to see a chart given for the staggered terms There's not a chart in here in Section 2, Paragraph D. You've got, they serve a 3-year term. I don't have a problem with that, but in order to make this thing work, we need to have staggered terms, and we need to give a chart for that, which can be a little bit complicated with 15 members on the board, and we would be appointing people for 1-year terms, 2-year terms, and 3-year terms.
But the county and the city terms are staggered. In relation to the town terms, some of the town appointments have been on there forever. Others have been removed due to an election or a resignation. And,
Well, I'm not talking about perpetuating the same thing that we've got.
No, I understand
We're
that.
doing a whole new set of regulations here, and we don't need to be trying to cram those square pegs into these round holes. This is supposed to be a new document that we're going to go forward with,
It is.
and it should give a schedule. You know, the schedule should be clearly stated in here. Otherwise, you're going to wind up, the clerk's going to probably go crazy if you don't.
So we need to add a serve at the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah.
And also add the chart for the term.
I think there should be a chart.
Yeah, we could add a chart as an appendix to the, and put it as an.
I don't have a problem with that, but, I mean, you know, right now, in a lot of these boards and commissions, we talk about the last person that served, they filled their seat or something like that, and I think this is an opportunity to stop doing that, especially with this board, because it has about 15 people on it. Going to page 56, down toward the bottom, the paragraph right above Article 9, that last sentence, Section 4, authority, the advisory board shall carry out the functions of the advisory board as the advisory board may be authorized or directed to perform by the county of Beaufort. I think you need to say commissioners.
Shall carry such funds advisory board, maybe by the county, okay, Board of Commissioners is fine.
Okay. Going over to page 57, Article Roman numeral 10, it talks about special meetings.
Getting this, Randall, over there?
I'm writing it down.
Okay.
Section Roman numeral 2, special meetings may be called by the chairman or by any 2 advisory board members at any time or place. You realize what happens when you get 15 people and any 2 of them can call a meeting? You may be meeting every other day. Normally, these things are called by about a third of the membership. I would like to see you change that to any 5 members or even any 4 members, but certainly not 2.
Yeah, we can change it, but I'll tell you this, we have not had any special meetings called except maybe once or twice.
Yeah, well,
But I have no problem putting down there 4 or 5 because if you can't get 4 or 5 people together, you're not going to do anything in a meeting anyway.
yeah, well, that's true, but it needs to be 4 or 5. It should not be 2 because you can get 2 wild cards on there and things can go cross-country in a hurry.
I vote that Randall, can we go ahead and switch that to 5?
Sure.
Okay.
What else you got?
Over on page 60.
Hold it a minute. Hold it. You're getting past the bylaws into the job description now.
You asked what else I had on this subject. We're still on this subject. You
okay.
want to break? You want to split it into 2 parts?
We need to split it up, yes.
Okay.
Split it up.
Let's go
All right,
ahead and
I'm
vote
done
on
with
this.
that.
Okay.
Are we going to vote on the?
Are you ready?
Are we going to vote on the job description separately?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
You got any more additions on this?
No.
Okay.
4 changes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. It's 4. That's including the changes
4 changes.
that have been proposed. Okay, we have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, aren't we going to have to, in this motion, say that we authorize the county manager to make the changes regarding staggered terms or either bring it back next month? Because we don't know what the staggered terms are. We're voting on something we don't know what it is, unless we just authorize him to make the terms as he sees fit, which is okay with me, because staggered terms are staggered terms.
I don't have a problem with it. It'll come back to us next month for a comment anyway.
Yeah.
Not for a vote, but we'll get it back.
It's all right.
I have no problem with the staggered
I
terms.
don't have a problem with authorizing him to do it.
Vote on
No.
this thing
Yeah, I think that's
the way it is unless we authorize him in the motion to do that.
right.
Okay. That's fine. So is that the way the motion would go?
Yep.
Okay. Now, anything further?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I appreciate y'all hammering this out. I'm going to vote against it because I don't think we need economic development as per a commission right now in Beaufort County. It hasn't worked before. I don't think it should start working now. And personally, I don't think government should be in the job of economic development. We have sold this bill of goods to the people that government creates jobs. The only jobs government creates is more government jobs. So I think you're making a huge mistake. But I'll vote against it and you guys vote for it.
We thank you. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? 6-1.
6-1. I like to tell you, Hood and I done pretty good at one of our conferences. We almost landed a job coming to Beaufort County.
Right. And actually, the EDC has accomplished things.
Under this watch.
Oh, you missed a lot.
That's right.
No, I've seen it all.
Okay, now we can do the job description.
Randall, you're the job description. You wrote it.
We took all the other items that we had from the previous meeting and incorporated them into this job description. Now, this job description is not the most impressive document. It was created several years ago when the county had a personnel study done, and these are the type descriptions that were created. We would like to have all these modernized and updated, but right now we haven't been able to have it done. But we did include those items.
Well, I thought the job description covered the whole waterfront. It's one of the most comprehensive job descriptions I've ever seen, and that's fine. But the only thing I had is at the bottom of page 60, additional job functions. It doesn't have the universal catch-all. Other duties as assigned by the county manager, and that needs to be in there.
Okay, we'll add that.
The one thing I see, Randall, is economic development in these times we have. And it can be a full-time job, or it may not, depending on how much is into it. But I think the economic development director is easily able to get involved in other things and possibly be utilized to a higher level.
Oh, that's absolutely our intention.
And I want to see you do that, to get full utilization out of the EDC director, be it planning or whatever.
I agree.
Okay, anything from any other commissioners?
I make a motion, we approve the job description.
They have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, 6-1. Okay, Mr. Gary Brin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I was campaigning through Beaufort County for this job, numerous people came to me and talked to me about limited voting. And this is what I'd like to make a motion to happen. To form a bipartisan committee appointed by the Beaufort County Board of Commissioners to investigate and propose a new method of electing county commissioners in Beaufort County. This committee would meet monthly to investigate and the election methods. This committee should have a chairman from the Beaufort County Commissioner's Office. Also, minority representation must be included on this committee. The committee should consist of no more than 9 members of the community. The chairman of this committee should be allowed to form subcommittees within to investigate and study issues as needed. I propose this committee be given 6 months to make the recommendations to the Board of Commissioners for consideration, with the chairman of said committee updating the Board of Commissioners monthly on where the committee is at and how it is progressing. The committee should be approved at the January meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing that this will be a subcommittee of the Board of Commissioners, it is my privilege to appoint this committee.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Brent, I will make you chairman of this committee.
I appreciate that.
Well, don't we have to have a second and a vote and do some discussion?
Oh, no, not for these. These are chairmen. And I put Commissioner Dethridge and Commissioner Booth.
Okay.
And I think that do we still have the other information from the last study?
Yes. I circulated that earlier last week.
Okay, and
Out
all
at the Beaufort County Board of Elections.
We had it here in the office.
Have it in the office.
Judge Ober researched the report.
2007 study you're talking about?
Yeah, that study and the study from back in 2000, I think, 3.
Okay, we had the 2007 on file.
Okay, does it have the maps?
We'll find that one. I'm not sure if
The maps are going to be very important, and that's going to include the demographics, which is going to be extremely
We'll
important.
find it. I didn't realize there had been 2 studies. So there was 07 and 03.
Yeah, the 03 study was the one where I was the chairman, and what happened at that study, we did all the legwork for the 2007 study. They used everything.
Who did the 2007 study?
Mostly me and Rader.
Rader and Ashley Stevens. Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Okay.
I understand you told Mr. Richardson that you have executive privilege here, but who's going to appoint the other 6?
Well, I think I'd like to discuss that a little bit too.
Well, basically, what I'm doing is just the commissioners who will be on that committee can in turn do pull the others. I don't really have a preference for
Let me make a suggestion on that, if I may. That this committee take this subject out and study it, and come back to us. And they may decide that they don't need 9 members of the public on this committee, but I think that those appointments, we can do them however you want to, but I think they really should come back to us in January and say, this is where we are, this is whether we think we need to appoint additional people to this committee or not. And one of the things that I would like to say is there has been an awful lot of work done on this already, and that I would like that we direct that committee that they first look at everything that's been done on this subject before they start going out and making recommendations that we start hiring more experts to do this and to do that, because we use top quality people every time that we have done this, and that we use everything that we already have before we start spending any more money. Of course, if any money is spent, it will have to be authorized by the committee, and it may be worthwhile, Mr. Chairman, to consider giving them a small stipend so that they could ask one of these experts to go back into his file or something in order to expedite their work. I would suggest that we allocate $2,000 for the committee's use to do that.
I don't have a problem with that, because I think how much money have we spent already?
How much? We spent $15,000 on the attorney, something like that. Do you know, JoJo?
I'm not sure. The 2007, I know we're close to about 8,500, something like that.
In the 2007 study, that Ted Arrington, that was a political science professor and a statistician from the University of Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, and in the report, they authorized up to $15,000, but when it came back, he only spent, including his expenses, a little less than $9,000. And it would probably be a good idea for every commissioner to read what he said. However, I think what is going to happen, supposedly, is the Supreme Court's going to hear this issue at its next session.
This year.
And if they hear this issue and rule on it, what the committee may be doing in January may be a lot different than they're doing when the Supreme Court rules on this thing, if they rule on it in February or March. So, but I agree, you go ahead and get started, but you may have to just stop right in the middle of the stream and change horses once the Supreme Court makes its ruling. You may not, depending on what they rule.
Anything that we do before the Supreme Court rules on it, we'll be ahead of the curve, and we'll be ready to do something, and we'll be the first ones out of the gate with it.
Well, if the Supreme Court do away with the pre-clearance, you won't need to come out the gate. The gate is already open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're just chasing a ghost in the snow.
But then again, if we don't start now, we'll be 2 or 3 months behind.
That's right.
So, I mean,
Write that down.
waiting on the courts and the federal government and all those people could be 20 years.
Okay, well,
The thing about it is, if it's 20 years and you do something against the pre-clearance, it may cost you $20 million.
Yeah, we have to be very careful.
we got it.
You up a slippery slope until the Supreme Court make a move. But,
Well, let's-
but we can work towards what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, let's simply do this. We have this 3-commissioner team, so you guys will just begin the process, and you can come back and let us know exactly what's going on in January when we meet.
Yeah, what I would see is a detailed proposal that lays out a path forward of how they're going to do it.
Well,
And it makes
we
it-
retained a lawyer, and so we'll have some legal advice on that when we come to the next meeting.
Okay. Hold on now. Who is we?
I mean, y'all, excuse me.
Whoa. You're not going to get a lot of legal advice for $2,000.
No.
Let me tell you that right now.
No.
This is pro bono.
Okay.
And we'll get that information, those other reports.
Beats the hell out of me.
And one of the things I like to see, I wasn't on the board when all this was done before. I think it would be very good if the whole board had a review of what of the study that was previously performed and what the recommendations or what the conclusion was of the study.
We'll send it
I
out
don't
to
have the
everybody.
2003 study. I
I think there were a lot of
2007.
It just gave, say,
I don't know about 2000.
No, it gave you your options, and it was up to the commissioners to make the
Okay.
recommendation.
But why, is there a way that you can just send it all to us?
We sent the second study already, but we'll go back and find the first study and send
Yes.
it to
Okay.
everybody. We'll send it to everybody.
I called a question.
Kelly Hopkins has the maps and the demographics. That's
Oh,
very
there's no
important.
question to be called.
What question?
There's no question.
No.
Oh, you did it.
This Arrington guy had everything.
He done did it.
He had, I mean, he didn't put it in his report, but he had gone and gotten everything, so he's got it all in his files.
It's going to be important, since we're going to ultimately make some decision, that we see the maps.
We will assure you that you see them.
Yeah, you need to see those maps.
Okay, we will tweak our agenda for tonight. We'll take our break now and come back at 6:45. That'll work.
Now, let me shut my sucker off here.
Stepped on it.
There we go.
All right, we're back in session. I think we're at the manager's report, unless I skipped something.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. Over on page 67, we have the list, and first item is the monthly travel request on page 68. You have the travel from the Health Department, Detention, Sheriff, and Communications, and County Manager's Office, $2,018.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I think I'll vote for it. It's not so bad this month.
There's a lot to live with this thing.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? 6-1.
And next, Mr. Crispin has the budget amendment.
Mr. Chairman, the 3 amendments from the Health Department, neither of those affect any county appropriation, with the exception of one. The Health Department were able to get some preparedness state revenue, which actually was utilized to offset some county fund. So we're actually decreasing our county appropriation with that amendment, and they are utilizing that for some supplies as well. All the others, you'll see family planning, they're actually decreasing, the state's decreasing some of that revenue, and we have reflected an offsetting decrease in expenditures to match that decrease. The other amendment is the county manager's budget, and that's just a carryover of the tricentennial budget. The I'll just remind you that the manager and the committee on the Tricentennial Committee for the 300th anniversary was able to raise $62,400 for the activities of the Tricentennial. And this budget amendment is carrying over funding as well as the $10,000 the county appropriated to fund the activities for that. The committee did a very good job of planning and organizing those activities to stay within the budget that they were given. And unfortunately, those expenditures went across fiscal years, as you can expect. So we're just asking that that money be carried forward.
Randall,
Yes,
how much money do we have left from the Tricentennial Fund, or is it all gone?
No, we still have a small amount left, which we have not paid for this week's expenses, but I think we're down to like the last $3,000 or $4,000.
Probably a little bit less than that.
A little bit less
with
than
the expenditures from this weekend.
Do we have some money left over, you think?
Well, probably by the time we pay the expenses for this week, it'll eat up a good portion of it. I don't know if it might be a little bit left. I think the committee would like to have one last get-together, probably first of the year sometime, and maybe have a lunch and sort of recap and thank everybody for supporting them and everything like that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? 7-0.
Move over to page 70. We have some appointments for your consideration this month. Looks like we have Planning Board for the Longacre Township and Pantega Township.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I move we reappoint Tony Keach for Longacre.
I second that.
Gary, you don't have to second appointments.
Okay.
Any other? You want to keep him in by consensus?
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere this week that we have to vote. I saw
Okay.
something that.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
I
7-0.
saw that, but it said don't do it by consensus.
All right, Pantego Township, Steve.
I move we reappoint Steve Carolyn.
Any other? All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0.
Next, for the Economic Development Commission, you have, due to your adoption of the bylaws earlier, we'll have to think through this carefully, but we did originally have 1, 2, 3, I believe it was 4 positions that have now become vacant.
I think there's,
Mr. Chairman.
I think there's 5, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Let's see, just 4 or 5.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I move that we defer these appointments until the schedule is made up by the manager, which will be presented to us at the January meeting.
Well, these expire the last day of this month.
Yes, sir. Then we meet in January within a week or so.
Even though the term expires, if you do not remove the person that's
They just
in it,
continue
they serve
serving.
until they're replaced or
Yeah.
reappointed. So they can serve, their term does expire then, but I believe, if I'm correct, they can continue to serve until reappointed.
Except for the commissioner's appointee.
Yeah, we got to
We have to do that.
I make a motion that we appoint Ed Booth as the commissioner appointment.
Jesus.
Okay. Any other nominations for that? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? 7-0. You are now on the Economic Development Commission. And we'll do the rest of them next month.
And you see there those that have submitted applications there underneath there. Moving on, we need to appoint the voting delegate for the Legislative Goals Conference coming up on January 24th and 25th in Raleigh. I believe normally, is that the chair that we
Normally.
Yeah.
have? Chair.
You want to vote on that?
I suppose.
Unless somebody wants to nominate somebody else. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, 7-0.
Next item is to appoint 3 committee members to the study that was authorized by the Board of Commissioners at the last meeting to look into the feasibility of creating a countywide tourism development authority.
Countywide what again?
Tourism development
Authority
authority.
study. I nominate Robert Caton, Julian Goff, and Al Cutzing as a group.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Voting no.
Opposed?
Likewise.
5-2. Well, I knew you would.
Next is the Southern Albemarle Association. That won't come, apparently that's not due now, is that correct, Judge Adams?
Let them serve.
It's usually everybody in the county.
Let them serve.
You usually get a letter, and we approve the delegation as
Okay.
you doing, I think how it works. And I don't
Okay,
think
so
it's-
that's.
I was chairman one year just recently.
That's yet to come,
Never
okay.
went. Just kidding.
Okay, the RPO Transportation Committee representative, that was Commissioner Caton.
Good riches.
I think I'm already on it.
He's-
Yeah, you're gonna have to find another body.
There's a dual role with that one.
I don't even know what it is.
The 17th, working on the roads that we prioritize.
How often do you meet, Hood?
Basically concerns supposedly highway policy. It's another layer of bureaucracy. It has to do with highway policy in 3 counties. We're a member of Martin, Pitt, I believe, and Beaufort. And we meet and look important and talk about roads.
Quarterly. Don't you mean about quarterly?
I think so, yeah.
Quarterly, I
And
believe.
usually we meet here, right here, but lately we've been meeting in Martin County, so.
I nominate Robert Belcher.
Perfect.
This is a dual role. Commissioner Richardson, you were serving, as I believe Commissioner Caton was serving as well.
Yeah, what happened was,
It's two different spots on
when
it.
they put it together, it was 2 separate boards, and they woke up one morning and realized that the boards had become so commingled that they
And
just.
who would crash the meeting? Go ahead and tell the truth.
You want off, did you?
I don't mind staying on it. I mean, it's,
We was
It's
in Roper.
interesting.
We was in Roper.
You want me to, I'll vote against you.
no,
All right.
I don't mind staying on it.
All right, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Those two.
It's just one.
Just one needs to be appointed.
Yeah, just one for appointment.
All right, 7-0. KD,
So, excuse me, so is it Mr. Belcher or is it Commissioner, is it Mr. Belcher or is it?
Belcher.
It's already on it.
who's already there?
So
Hood's
we're
there.
already doing, we're
Right.
replacing Reverend Caton,
Right.
right? I'm with you.
Okay, the Health Board.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to serve on the Board of Health.
I nominate Gary Brand. Is that one of our appointments? So,
Yes, that's our commissioner appointment to the Board of Health.
Okay, well,
Okay, you nominated yourself, right?
Yes, I nominated myself.
And Gary Brin nominated himself.
I think I could make a
Somebody-
difference on the Board of Health because there have been a lot of excesses from the Board of Health, and you need a watchdog on there who knows the ropes. Sending somebody new over there will just get engulfed in that bureaucracy.
okay, I'm gonna muddy the water. I'm gonna nominate Robert Belcher.
Okay. How do we vote for the 3? I forget.
Take them
Guess you
in,
vote for Hood.
take them in the order they were,
We talked about it's gonna come.
Yeah, you ought to take them one at a time.
one at a time.
I withdraw my nomination.
Harry doesn't want it?
Okay, so it's just Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Belcher. We do them in the order was taken. And since I nominated Madam Clerk,
Do you really think you can make a difference?
Yeah.
Sir?
All you
I
need is one
nominated
honest
someone,
man.
so I cannot do it.
I don't know if you want.
It's in your hands.
Vote for it
Oh,
anyway.
okay. All right, then.
I'm gonna remember
This is for
that.
the Health Board
Well,
seat.
that's okay, too.
All that are voting for Commissioner Richardson.
Right. Okay.
And for Commissioner Belcher.
Okay, Commissioner Richardson gets it.
It's taken 20 years to get here. I always knew I would get here.
Woe be it to them.
Thank you very much for your votes.
That's big news.
Building will I'm going to check and see if that building's cracked or not when I go home tonight.
See?
All right.
See? Which guy's name?
The Local Emergency Planning Committee, that was a Emergency Planning Committee, that was a Commissioner McRoy, so that is a commissioner appointment, which is to be approved by the board.
It's industrial.
It's a group that meets infrequently, once or twice a year, I believe.
On that Gary brand.
Okay.
Well, what's this for?
Industrial.
Emergency planning board, they don't,
Oh, okay.
they don't do much. They just write their time.
It's important, but they don't meet, on a regular
Unless
basis.
there's a big problem.
Just get hit with a meteorite or volcano, earthquake, don't have anything to do.
Okay, well, all in favor of Commissioner Brand, raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, the next one is subcommittee appointments, which are made by me. Commissioner Caton and Commissioner McRoy are both departed, so the animal control, Mr. Brand, we'll place you there. Okay, and the audit committee, Commissioner Brand as well as Commissioner Belcher. And then on the water committee, ditto again. You'll be serving on the water committee along with me.
So that's Brent and you
And as well as Commissioner Belcher.
on the water committee. So you're already on there.
I'm already on.
I believe that's all of those, isn't it? Did you do the
We have
chamber?
done the appointments of the boards and planning board, 3-year staggered terms.
Yeah, I thought it's the county planning board? Yeah, we did Keach and,
I think this is just in for your information, this page.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
That's just information
Well, I to show you who's
Okay.
currently serving.
Next thing's the interlocal agreements, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Cradle term up, does somebody else appoint her, or do we appoint her? Her term's up 12/30/2012.
Who wants her star?
we do, we appoint everybody to the county planning board.
Well, it says her appointment's up, but she's not with.
Yeah, well, Judge will put her on next month then.
Give me 1 second, we'll get it right now. We're rolling kind of quick, give me just a minute.
Sure of that?
Do what?
On page 75.
No, I don't know.
That's a Bath Township.
You had two. One was Tony Keach,
Here we are.
the planning board, and one was from the Longacre Township. One was Steve Carrowan from the Canantigua Township.
Yeah, we already appointed them.
Right.
What about Cradle, JoJo, up there in the Bath?
I'm looking for her sheet right now.
She's in Bath.
Yeah, she's up 12/30 of 12.
Then she should be on.
Okay.
We can do her next
Here we
month.
are.
Yeah, let's do her next month.
They put her on for next month?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do it tonight?
Okay.
Do it next month. She may not want to serve.
Okay,
Well, let's just find out for sure.
okay.
Ready to move on to the interlocal agreement?
Yes.
Okay, over on page 86, we have the interlocal agreement between Beaufort, Martin, Washington, Hyde, and Terrell counties. And this is an agreement that we've been working on for several months now that will support the Public Defender's Office, this Second Judicial District. And the it's something that originally it was proposed that it appeared that Beaufort County was going to have to pay all the costs for this program to provide office space and equipment and access to the internet and all their infrastructure. But we were able to go back and work on it a little bit more. So now we have broken it out to where Beaufort County is paying 50% of the cost, Martin County is paying 25%, Washington 14%, Hyde 6%, and Terrell 5%. So that's much to our favor to have it broken out this way. And at the last meeting, Andy Womble was here, who's the director of the Public Defenders Program in the 1st and in the 2nd Judicial District. And he is hoping to move forward, I think, with filling his staff positions and in the near future. And this, of course, we'll talk in a minute about the lease agreement for the building. The agreement with the building is strictly between Beaufort County and the landlord, where this is an agreement between the 5 counties working together. And it, Mr. Mayor, do you want to say anything about it?
No, it's all right there before you. I assume all counties have signed the interlocal agreement.
They have, yes, sir.
They have. If they have, then y'all are now able to proceed, if you so desire, on the lease. For the Cowan building, you ought to went in, we discussed it before.
We need to
It's a
improve,
partnership that
we need to
owns it.
approve the interlocal agreement first.
I would.
Yeah.
Chair entertains a motion.
I move we approve the agreement.
Have a motion, is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion.
Is this going to pretty much be it? There's no way we can get out of this thing. We've got to do it. We're forced to do it. We've got a gun to our head.
Well, it's not a gun to our head. It's, call it communicating a threat.
I should have qualified that. We have a political gun to our head.
You have a political gun to your head. But, you know, one of the things I want to say on this is it's a crying shame, as far as the public is concerned, that we hire a sheriff's department to go out and catch criminals. Then we pay the judges and the court system to try them. We have a jail to jail men. All of this at taxpayers' expense. They get out of jail, and well, while we're trying them, now we have to hire them a lawyer. They get out of jail, and then there are people that are wanting money to rehabilitate. Well, you know, one of the things that needs to be done in North Carolina is we really need to take a serious look at criminality and how we view criminality and who's making money off the system. Narcotics is simply a catch and release program that's recycled and recycled and recycled over and over again. And we really need some innovative thinking about criminality and how we go about taking care of criminality in our society. And I'll have some comments about criminality on the people that are in the jail a little bit later in the informational package.
The
Be like jailbird, right?
Yeah. Commissioner Clem.
The question I would have, Randall, we're going to go ahead and have a public defender's office, and the system's being changed. It's different. Well, what are they going to do as far as measuring to show us how it's better going forward? In other words, we're spending money here, the system's being changed, and I think periodically, being it's here, they ought to report back to the citizens of Beaufort County and demonstrate this was a meaningful thing to do, and that they are doing a better job. There's a possibility that it may not be as good as what we have now, for all I know.
Well, that was one thing I was going to recommend, that we require that with the county funding this agreement.
I mean, they need to be accountable to us.
They come and report to you annually on
I'm not too sure.
progress, the number of cases they're dealing with, and how they're working with the court system, and all that. And I don't think they'd have any problem with doing that.
I need to do it more frequent to start with.
Well, if you want it twice biannually, twice a year, whatever.
Twice a year is about the only thing that'll mean anything as slow as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't measure it. It's so slow you can't measure it if you don't.
Yeah. I guess one indicator would be how quick they get people to trial.
Y'all notice I ain't saying nothing, did you?
Well, you can if you want.
I'm gonna vote right.
Well, I'm going to vote for it, but I'm going to vote for it reluctantly, keeping in mind that we don't look at criminality in the correct way within our system. It's a money system. It's costing, the taxpayers are paying for all of this stuff, and we need to devise a better system.
Well, I will say this, as you all know, I work within this system, so if it's not working, trust me, you will know. You will know, and then we can, and I've told some of the players, if it doesn't produce, I will cry loud and spare not. So we will see where it goes.
So is Randall going to, at the pleasure of the board, bring these guys in front of us 12 months from now and give us a
I'll notify him that that's part of the
rundown?
You all asked for
6
that
months.
to be.
Six months.
What can you do?
Yeah.
If they come up here and tell you nothing, what can you do?
Let it be stated under resolution.
Well, we're going to want to see some.
You can seek me on them. I've got some real statistics here on about how lazy the system is.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you in a minute. I mean,
Randall,
it's easy to get the information.
They're going to need a
Our
dog
share
money
of,
show if they
our
can
share of
come
that
up here
rent is
every 6 months.
$1,325 a month, is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
That's correct.
Where, is there money allocated for, in the budget for something like that?
No.
We're allocating it right now.
Right now.
That's what this vote does.
We're going to have to appropriate it out of our reserves.
Yeah.
So it's not allocated right now,
No, sir.
No.
so we gotta find it somewhere.
Well, we didn't know at the beginning of the fiscal year, during our budget process, that we had these numbers refined. We would have included it in our upcoming budget, but at the time, we didn't realize it was going to be this cost.
But we've got a contingency. There's contingency funds, so the funding is there.
Okay.
This agreement, well, approve the agreement, and we'll talk about the rest with the next thing,
Sure.
All right.
for me.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, 6-1.
Okay, next on
I'll tell
page,
y'all about it when it happens.
on page 95, you have the lease for the property across the way, the Caravan building will be proposed to use for this purpose.
The thing I don't see in here is you got the lease, you got the percentage each person. What about the furniture and all the stuff that needs to be put into this place?
Furniture.
Is that covered in this numbers?
We're required.
No, it's not covered
We're
in that.
required to provide furniture.
See?
It's not even covered in these numbers.
No.
We did not. Of course, we're trying to use some furniture we already have on hand, so it's not like we're going to run and buy all new furniture. And frankly, they're very willing to take whatever we have in surplus. We may have to buy a few pieces, but we didn't include the furniture costs to divide that among the other counties, because since it's going to be held here in Beaufort County, it's going to be Beaufort County property. We felt it was best for us to own that ourselves. But
See what I tell y'all? Get bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah. Well, then there's the cost of that T1 line or whatever it is. And
That's
what's
correct.
funny to me is if they're defending people and the T1 line is connected to the DA's office. Something,
yeah.
Keep digging.
Well, we looked at trying to actually use the connection for the district attorney's office, but when they measured it, it was actually closer to come across the street to the courthouse, I believe. Isn't that correct, Jim? Do you remember? It was closer to come across the street than it was.
oh, really?
front
So they're not going
office.
to connect to the DA's office now?
No.
No.
We're trying
Do
to
we
put-
pay for that?
Yes.
Yep. Is there a monthly fee on that? I guess there is.
They're just utilizing the state
What's already
system.
there.
They're not, all we're doing is getting them from one building to another, and they're running their own cable inside that boring.
Okay, the cable's already in the building, the connection.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They'll just be piggybacking on the public courts office, the state system that comes in the clerk's office.
No.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
It is what it is.
All right.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Chairman Ling.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? 6-1.
Keep digging.
Ed, you're consistent.
Keep
Consistent,
digging.
Ed.
Y'all gonna be consistent with us all over. Keep digging.
We need to go back to page 85. I overlooked our meeting schedule. If you look at, we've
85.
Page 85, we have the meetings for the upcoming year.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the meeting schedule as presented by the manager. I think it's all for the first Monday of each month, and they don't conflict with other things.
A couple of changes we've.
March.
One in March.
March and September 9th.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Are we going to pretty much stick to this?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'll try to.
It's all subject to change, but this is our.
Can we not? I mean, once we start changing, it's hard to keep up with all the changes if you plan way out ahead of time like
We'll
I
put a
said.
GPS on and get you.
I guarantee you there'll be something come up, we'll have to change it. I mean, it always does, but we stuck with it, what, at least
Pretty
10
good.
months out of last
Pretty
year?
good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay, we have a motion or a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, 7-0.
Okay, moving on, we need to go down to these closed session minutes.
Mr. Chairman, there's one thing I'd like to do before we do closed session, if I may, having to do with the jail.
Okay.
It won't take but a minute. If you flip over to page, I don't know what page it is, it's under the FYI section, and it's the report that we get from the jail on the number of people in the jail, and I've gone through this report, and since the 9th month of '09 until now, we have 7 people in there who have been convicted of serious crimes that have been sitting in jail, some of them for 3 years. There is no reason that the DA cannot bring these people to trial. These people are costing us $50 a day, I believe is what we determined our direct cost was, and I don't know what the indirect cost is. But that's $18,500 a year for somebody to sit in jail. It's not fair to the prisoner. It's not fair to the taxpayer. It's not fair even to the attorneys that are supposed to be trying this. And I understand that the people who are defending that we just approved have promised that they're going to speed up the velocity of criminals through the jail system in our system, and that would really be a big thing because you're talking about building a jail. These 7 people, if the average stay in jail, the way it looked to me, might be 2 months. Probably less than that, but if you're keeping them 2 months, for 7 people, 6 times a year times 7 is 42 people. That, you may not even have to build a jail if the DA will start doing his job and trying these cases. The other thing is that since April of this year, there are 6 people who have been in there for 6 months. I mean, this is getting to be a bit long and a bit drawn out. And I, again, publicly ask the district attorney to get off of his butt and go to work. Do his job. Get off your butt and do your job. I think I've heard that somewhere before. But it's time. And this is costing you a lot of money, and we're paying him to do this. So let's get the job done.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is, Commissioner Richardson, we hear you, but there's absolutely, positively nothing we can do with the DA.
No, you shouldn't have said it that way. You should have said public opinion may force the district attorney because he runs for office like a lot of other people do, and there may be somebody else out there if the jail backs up enough that might want to be DA.
Well,
it's time to get going with this.
And when I say we, I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, 6 of you can't do anything. 1 of us can. Don't count me in that 7.
All right.
We actually represent 48,000, so we can maybe put a little pressure there.
You could do a resolution to ask the district attorney to please start emptying the jail. I mean, the taxpayers may appreciate that since we're looking at $30 million to build a new jail.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'll make the motion. I move that
Yeah,
we request the district attorney to start trying these cases and get this jail emptied.
We put in some really nice, glossy words.
You just did. You sending them some help over there. You just voted to bring in 75 public defenders here.
Well, in light of that,
give him time to work.
In light of that, we really should
give him
make a
time to
statement.
work.
Okay, you have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion or second. Discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2.
That's why you can't do anything about
All
it.
opposed? Okay.
Because 4 of you vote to keep people in prison that should not be there.
Now, you can't make that statement. You don't know. You don't know who should be in jail and who should not be in jail.
I'm
now
pretty
you are
sure-
defining guilt and innocence, and you cannot sit here and define guilt and innocence.
If they are innocent, they should be out of jail. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree with you.
Well, they'll get out a whole lot quicker if the DA will go ahead and try them.
Chairman, do you agree that no one should sit in a county jail for 3 years without being tried?
Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly, but what I'm saying is we can't sit here and say whether they're guilty or not guilty.
Oh, no.
That's not what I said.
But this is a constitution. I forget which constitutional amendment it is.
Speedy trial.
Yeah, speedy trial.
Yeah.
Can't remember. I think it's the fifth.
I'll stand your bond tomorrow when you come hold your office.
I think it's in the Fifth Amendment. I think it's the fifth. Can't remember.
All right, what's next?
Next, I believe, Mr. Chairman, we need to go into a closed session because we have some other items that require that discussion.
Okay.
Attorney-client privilege and for personnel and to discuss these.
They're going to have to be separate.
Okay, we're going to do personnel first?
What you're going to do first, item 17, first.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have number 17. We can go ahead if you're willing to approve these current closed session meetings for October, November, and you can approve those outside of closed session.
These from last month, we said to bring them back.
Yeah, those are in colored packages.
Yes.
Yeah, I move that we approve those that are in colored packages,
I
unless
second.
someone has an exception.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Should not vote. I wasn't here.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
If you weren't here, we can vote to excuse, we need to vote to excuse.
Vote to-
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I move that we excuse Commissioner Brand and Belcher.
All right, have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, 5-0. Now we can approve the minutes. You have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0.
And number 18 are the closed minutes that Mr. Mayo, the board directed Mr. Mayo and I to review a couple of months ago, which we did complete the review. And this is a book here that contains closed session minutes from 06, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And each of you were provided copies of those to review with our recommendations inside the book. So I think if you want to make any changes, we'll need to go into closed session to further discussion. Otherwise, if you want to take the recommendations, you can do it now.
I have two changes that I would like to discuss on that matter tonight.
Okay, so we'll need to go in closed session then.
Okay, and which one, which type?
I've got the general statute here, if I may.
Okay.
Okay.
Read it.
I move we go into closed session under NCGS 143-318.11A1 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of this state of the United States, or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the general statutes. I'm not sure.
You have a motion, is there a second?
We need McWard back on.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Yeah, he can do it better than I could. Better than I could.
7-0. We're in closed session.
The I move that the closed session minutes for the years, Mr. Manager, beginning 2006
6 through 12, part of 12.
through part of 12, that do not concern the hospital, be approved and released.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed?
And now, I move that the hospital minutes, that all of the hospital minutes for all of the years be approved with the appropriate changes that we just made, or edits that we just made, and that they be not be released until a later date.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, since we were not in that, should we even vote on this? I didn't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
We've already released
We've
it.
already released it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Released.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0.
Next is another closed session item for attorney-client privilege.
Okay, someone got it up?
This is personnel. I move we go into closed session under NCGS 143-318-11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, condition of appointment of a public officer, employee, or prospective public officer or employee.
Okay.
Fine, we'll come back and do the other one after that. Okay.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? 7-0. We're back in closed session. Punishment.
Redskins are playing.
So talented.
I'm a Cowboy fan,
That made me sick.
so we don't care.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I don't know what they're doing that way.
You ready? Okay, we're back out of closed session. We're now back in open session. As a result of our closed session, is there a motion?
You name the number.
You want me to make the motion?
Yes.
The motion is that we hire additional legal counsel to assist in projects that are in need of immediate attention, and that the cost of that be not more than $2,000 a month.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Anything further, Mr. Manager?
No, sir.
Entertain.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
We're meeting when? Just
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. But
It's
2 o'clock.
Well, that's not one of our.
Okay.
Tomorrow you'll be over at Beaufort Community College at 2 o'clock for the
right.
open meetings, public records training.
All right. And our next regular meeting is January
4th.
4th. Okay.
County business.
Okay.
We're adjourned.